What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to Red Band Cast here on the Red Band Cast YouTube channel. Bet you thought you'd never hear that again. I kind of abandoned this channel for a while because I was hoping to make a new one with my wife, but we're kind of still in development on that. And I figured that I would come back to this channel and do a little bit of work during the Halloween season. So I'm going to do this series where I'm going to review a few movies in a particular category every week. Don't know how many reviews per week or if it'll even be that consistent, but I'm going to try to keep putting them up and try to keep making some relatively fun little videos for you guys. The first week, this week, is going to be anthology movies, so I hope you guys enjoy that. I know I'm a big fan of anthology movies. And the one I wanted to start off with was one I'd never seen with kind of a Halloween theme to it. Well, not kind of a Halloween theme to it. It is all over the place. This has a really great atmosphere for Halloween. It is Tales of Halloween. This is an anthology movie that was made by several different filmmakers, sort of cut into one big movie, a bunch of short movies that kind of overlap Trick or Treat style, but I think Trick or Treat is done a little bit better. But kind of to just jump right in there, the opening of this has these kind of low quality graphics that I think are mostly CG, or at least I would imagine so. They don't work very well for me. For some reason, I just don't like it. It kind of gets better towards the end of the beginning, if that makes any sense, but it's not what I would call overly good. I don't know. I don't like it very much. But also in here is Adrienne Barbeau. She's this radio DJ, kind of like she is in The Fog, basically doing her thing that she did in The Fog, and talking about this town and talking about these situations that kind of are used as transitions into the different segments. I thought it was fun overall throughout the movie, but I think her dialogue or her speeches or monologues or whatever are really kind of hokey. I think she gets better with it throughout the rest of the movie, but in the opening it's really, really hokey, and she doesn't sell it that well for me. But throughout the rest of the movie, when she's kind of not on screen, I think it works better because her voice is very, very good. And if you've ever heard her voice acting, she is a fantastic voice actress. So, to move on from that, we've got the first segment, which is called Sweet Tooth. This is directed by a guy named Dave Parker. Not a very well-known figure, but he's an interesting guy. He's done, I think, some documentaries on George Romero and stuff like that. This is a good but fairly predictable opening segment. It's got a dialogue problem that kind of persists from the beginning of the movie into this. Don't really like the dialogue in here. It gets a little bit better towards the end of the segment, mostly because there's not a lot of talking that needs to be done near the end of the segment. Yeah, kind of an inventive monster. Kind of looks like Dr. Tongue from Day of the Dead, if you remember that zombie. Yeah, it's okay. Kind of similar to the Trick or Treat episode of Tales from the Dark Side, which is a fun movie that I like to watch not a movie, but a fun TV episode I like to watch every once in a while. The parental situations are hokey a lot. Generally, when parents are involved here, it's they seem really bad. It's overall good, but not great. I think that probably one of the things I need to mention about this entire movie is that it involves kids a lot. Kids either in peril or kids committing murders. If you're into that, great. But it is kind of a warning for some people who don't like that stuff. Generally, like, for instance, my wife cannot handle anything where children are in peril. So she would not like this movie. The Night Billy Raised Hell. This is a mean-spirited and somewhat sad horror comedy, which kind of illustrates pretty well the intentions of the devil on Earth. The main villain is basically the devil, and he uses a small boy to carry out his will in the world. There is a twist here in the end that I'm not going to really discuss, but I think it kind of weakens the movie overall. I don't like the twist. I thought it sort of brought too much sympathy, maybe, and not enough of the sort of allegorical content that I thought the rest of the episode was looking at. Let's see. This is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, or Boozman, however you say it. He's known for Saw 2 through 4. I think his best work is probably Saw 2. This is not one of his best works. It's okay, but not great. Trick. This is a twisty, torturous, and fairly brutal slasher with pretty good cinematography. I really actually like the cinematography. I think there are a couple of shots in here that may be like the best shots of the movie, or at least close to it. It was the best so far in these first 3. It had a pretty cool premise. It gets rather disturbing. It's directed by Adam Girash, who did some writing with Tobe Hooper in Hooper's sort of mid to late career. This is The Weak and the Wicked is the next episode here. It is a mediocrely written revenge segment, stereotypical, and it's on the whole predictable. I don't know. I just don't like it. Kind of a cool monster, but you see him for like a second. It's maybe the coolest monster in the whole thing, but you see him for like a second and then it's gone. I don't know. I felt bad about that. The next one is Grim Grinning Ghost, which started out fantastic. I really, really liked that. Oh, by the way, The Weak and the Wicked, directed by Paul Soleil. Just wanted to give the little note there. But Grim Grinning Ghost started out really good, and then started immediately after that to go downhill. As you see, I'm reading notes. Need those for anthology movies. But it starts out with Lin Shaye telling this ghost story, and she does a really good job. I think Lin Shaye is a fairly good actress, and used to pretty good effect, I think, in here. But I think after that, it really starts to go downhill. There's a couple cameos in here from famous horror directors, Mick Garris and Stuart Gordon. After that, that's sort of during the telling of the story, and like I said, it goes so far downhill, becomes really predictable. The monster looks okay. One good thing I can say for this entire movie is that I think the special makeup effects work pretty well. All the special effects, I think, work pretty well, so cheers to that. This one's directed by Axel Carolyn. That is, let's see, she directed a movie called Soulmate and did some bit parts in Neil Jordan's Doomsday. So I think probably because Neil Jordan was involved in this project, that's how she got on board. The next one is Ding Dong, which is directed by Lucky McKee. Really kind of a surrealistic, somewhat comedic horror movie that just, I don't know, doesn't work that well for me. The story goes so far off the rails. Visuals are great. The monster looks great. But I think we see the monster too much, in fact, and there's no surprise left in it. Maybe one of the weakest segments, actually, I think. Let's see. This Means War, which is kind of bloody Bugs Bunny cartoon. It really is more like a Bugs Bunny cartoon with real people, almost entirely, except for the cursing, until there's like a death scene. And that's a little bit of a spoiler, not too bad though. You kind of expect it from something like this, but it's silly. It's directed by 2 people, I think. Andrew Cash and John Skip. Andrew Cash did some work on the Nightmare on Elm Street, like, big documentary. I really love that documentary, and I thought he did great with that. This is a well-directed segment, especially well-edited, but overall, not great. John Skip, by the way, was a writer on the Elm Street movie Dream Child, so I'm sure that was great for Andrew Cash to work with him. Friday the 31st. This is, I think, tied for my favorite segment. It plays like the beginning of Friday... Well, not the beginning, but it's Friday the 13th Part 2's ending mixed with all this other weird stuff. And I won't give away what other weird stuff is in here, but suffice to say, it is really fun, really funny, really gory. It's got shades of Evil Dead. It's got shades of like some alien stuff. It's got a lot of slashery stuff in here. I really like it. Funny, gory, over the top. Just, I really loved it. I thought it was fantastic. This is directed by Mike Mendez, who's kind of a veteran in the direct-to-DVD or direct-to-video or direct-to-television movies. He's usually an editor, and he uses that to full effect in here. There's some good editing. Let's see. The next one is The Ransom of Rusty Rex, which is a weird horror comedy that I thought was very funny. They really saved the best for the last three here. It's got an inventive little monster in it. Cool stuff. I thought it was good. And finally, finally, is The Bad Seed, directed by Neil Jordan. By the way, Ransom of Rusty Rex is, let's see. Sorry about that. Can't find his name. It's Lalo Schifrin's kid, though. So, anyway. The next one is Bad Seed, directed by Neil Jordan. Really fun, crazy little segment about a killer pumpkin. That's all you need to know. Also, Joe Dante shows up in there, and I thought that was great. He does a really good job because he actually has some good speaking parts. I think he does really well. Probably the best directed segment, and I think probably overall the best segment. I just like Neil Jordan. I think he's a really talented, really good guy. Really talented filmmaker. So, overall, I'd say I recommend this. Fun little anthology. There's about 3 or 4 that are really worth your time. You can skip through a lot of them, but the last 3 are really, really dynamite, and there's maybe a couple towards the middle that are pretty good too, but after that, a lot of the beginning stuff is really bad. Kind of a mixed bag as far as an anthology movie, but I thought it was worth watching, and if you've got, I don't know, an hour and a half on a Saturday to watch it, go ahead, take some time, watch Tales of Halloween. I think it's fine. If I were to give it a rating out of 5, I'd give it maybe around 2.5 stars. Not bad, not great. So there you go. Rock on. If you like, subscribe. Talk to you later. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.